I apologize for going over, Mr. Chairman. So as I was saying, this hearing is about prosperity in the Pacific and acknowledgement that prosperity doesn't exist here. And all I've heard since coming to Congress are proposals for restrictions because of geopolitical tensions with China, restrictions that I believe will only make things worse. And as I've said, we're all on the same team and we must all do our part. You know, since I've been here, I've been hearing a lot about birth tourism, and let's be clear, we all agree that birth tourism is a concern. But it's also very misleading to suggest that the CNMI has been lax on the issue. We are the only jurisdiction through the covenant who has taken real action, urging Congress to amend birthright citizenship for tourists coming into the CNMI, but Congress has never acted. Under President Trump, we partnered with the White House to enhance Chinese tourist screening, creating EVS TAP, a program delayed for 4 years under the Biden administration before finally being implemented. And today, I'm working to strengthen oversight of foreign investments. Yet despite all of this, I haven't heard from a single national security official, not even the Department of Defense over the last 10 years whom I've been directly engaging with, has confirmed that tourism from China itself is a threat. If it's good for California, why is it not good for the Commonwealth so that we can put food on the table? The only answer that I've been getting is that the biggest risk to national security is a collapsed CNMI economy. And that's why I'm here fighting to restore tourism from all markets. They can be from Mars for all I care. That's why I am urging Secretary Rubio to mobilize embassies in Japan, South Korea, Australia, and the Philippines to secure real support for other markets. That is why I'm pushing for deregulation, expanded labor access, and economic relief. Not restriction as some of the written testimonies have suggested, but actual support that doesn't cost federal taxpayers anything. We can't compete with the mainland for investment or tourism. We don't have oil, we don't have labor, and we face severe geographic and economic constraints. We don't want the status quo, but one-size-fits-all federal policies leave us with no options. It's like putting baby in a corner, you know what I mean? And that's kind of the position that I'm in right now as the delegate. And so, you know, what is the proposal? Basically, I haven't really heard a proposal. I've heard proposals for restrictions, but what are proposals basically for supporting economic opportunities in the CNMI? And so this question then is to Ms. Paskal. In your testimony, you proposed requiring visas for tourists, including Japan and South Korea, which are two of our other primary markets.
I'm sorry, no, I don't. I think that people coming into any part of the United States should have the same entry points. And if you're Chinese coming into California, you need a visa, and as you said, tourism and Chinese tourism in California is just fine. So why would it affect Chinese tourism to CNMI? And just on this point of why PRC tourism is a threat, you just asked Palau. I mean, as you said, economic collapse is your biggest threat, and the PRC deliberately used tourism to try to economically collapse Palau in order to gain strategic advantage, in this case, getting them to derecognize Taiwan.
Thank you for pointing that out, and thank you for using Palau as an illustration of these influences, right? But what creates these opportunities for influence? Is it not economic collapse? Is it not economic vulnerability?
Yes, which is why you can do things. I mean, there are a bunch of recommendations. I did make recommendations. For example, look at cabotage, look at a fast ferry between Guam and Rota.
A ferry between Guam and Rota?
Yeah. I mean, there are all sorts of little tweaks that you can do that can provide sustainable sorts of development that are beyond the tourism sector, that help the people of CNMI in multiple different ways.
So has there been an economic analysis that's been, that anybody has looked at or reviewed or suggested to show that if you completely take out the tourism industry, that hole can be filled in order to be able to support basic government services?
So the idea isn't to take out the tourism sector. The idea is to isolate the sector of tourism that is incredibly unreliable, that comes and goes, that uses itself for economic leverage, for political and strategic advantage. The United States could decide tomorrow that no Chinese tourists can come into the US. And if CNMI has built up its tourism around Chinese tourism, it is going to be incredibly vulnerable. Other tourist sectors are, I mean, cabotage would greatly increase the chances of increases in Japanese tourism, for example. So, you know, for those who don't know this issue, in the US, you can't have a foreign carrier flying between 2 points in the US. So you can't have a Japanese airline that flies to Saipan and then to Guam. If a Japanese carrier could do that, that would greatly lower costs for the people of CNMI and Guam to travel in the region and take away some of that chokehold that United has, which affects all sorts of other economic growth factors, and it would increase Japanese tourism.
And all this based on an opinion, but not based on an actual economic analysis that assesses what the real economic underlying challenges are, like remote geography,
So,
cost of transportation.
yeah, so CNMI isn't actually that remote if you can unlock the transportation in the region. If you can get out of that United Airlines chokehold that has on the region, you're actually not very far away. And you have access. Guam, for example, has all sorts of access all over the region, and you can build up other sectors like health. You know, people from the FAS need better health care, and there could be health centers and education centers in CNMI. The College Northern Marianas could be really built up to be a comfortable place for the people from FAS to come and study and learn more about their cousins across the region.
Ms. King-Hinds,
I
your
yield my
time has
time.
expired.